What's going on? In this video, I wanted to talk about naming your freight brokerage. This is one of the first things that you're gonna have to worry about, especially if you're starting up a brokerage of your own. This is one of the most important aspects of the startup because this is the first impression that your brokerage is going to give to prospective customers. But there are three major mistakes that people make when they're naming their freight brokerage that I want you to avoid. And there's one easy tool that you can use that I'm gonna show you at the end of this video to help you come up with some ideas, brainstorm, and ultimately name your brokerage and set it up for success in the long run. Okay, so the first mistake that I want to cover that people make when they're naming their freight brokerage is they use these slang terms or inside jokes as sort of like a tongue-in-cheek way to name their brokerage. And I have to say, that's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make at the startup of your brokerage. The reason being, the name of your brokerage will reflect your personality and the way you do business to potential customers. If you use a joke or slang or something that's just a little bit confusing or off-putting, that's gonna shut you out from business opportunities from some of the biggest shippers and customers in the world. All right, we want to avoid that. We want to pick a name instead that's professional, it's respectful, it shows poise, and it doesn't even have to be that unique. Right? There's a saying that all the good ideas are already taken, and that's partly true. It's really difficult to come up with an original name. All right, so all in all, the first thing that I have to tell you to do is do not use slang terms or nicknames or anything that might be construed as inappropriate, because that's just gonna rule you out from any legitimate big customers and clients. Right? Imagine walking into a board meeting with people wearing suits and ready to talk about business and stuff with you, and then you walk in there and you call yourself like Crazy Eddie's Freight Brokerage or Speedy Gonzalez Delivery Services, right? It's not gonna resonate well with them. They're not gonna connect with you. And just like you judge people by what they're wearing when you see them, people are gonna judge you by your company name, right? So pick something nice and professional to give yourself a good impression. The number two thing that people make a mistake with is choosing a name that's either too long, too jumbled, or too hard to spell. The reason why this is important is because you're always going to be telling people your company name on the phone, right? Think about how many times a day you're gonna have to use this. You're gonna have to tell them your email address, your company name that's on your documents. You're gonna send your documents through to people. You're gonna be typing this name out hundreds of times, maybe per day. You don't wanna pick a name that's hard for even you to spell. I'll give you one example. Our brokerage name is Total Connection. It's been around for so long, we can't really change it right now, but when we call people, we always have to say Total Connection, the connection is singular. You might run into problems if you use abbreviations. If you say BBG, logistics, imagine that. When you're on the phone, you're gonna have to spell that out for people constantly. B as in Bob, B as in Bob, G as in Gary, at whatever.com. Right? Imagine how difficult it is for people to hear that on the phone, and then now you have to start spelling it out. That wastes a lot of time. You know, add an extra 1 to 2 minutes per phone call of you sounding that out. That adds up over the day. And the number three mistake that people make when they're naming their freight brokerage is choosing a name that's already taken. This is one of the most frustrating things. It's happened to me hundreds of times. I learned my lesson the hard way. When you're picking a name, it is crucial that you pick a name that isn't already taken, especially by someone in your industry. The reason is pretty obvious. If it's done by a big enough company and you get caught, you are going to get sued. There's something called copyright infringement, and you don't want to be on the other side of copyright infringement. So there's two places you want to look up to see if your name is taken before you even make the plunge. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to GoDaddy.com, type in the domain name right there. It's free, especially to look up, and it'll tell you if your domain name is taken. If your domain name is taken, you're gonna want to visit that website and see, is this person in business? Is this person doing the same thing that I'm doing? Or maybe you're there in an unrelated industry. Can my company name cause confusion in the marketplace? Because if it can, maybe that's not the best name that you should choose. The second place you want to look up after you see if anybody's using it is called the US Patent and Trademark Database. And you can find that at uspto.com. I'll put the link below. You want to make sure that the name you're choosing is not trademarked. If it is trademarked, that is an automatic no-go. You do not want to use a trademark name that's trademarked in the industry you're trying to go into. Okay, I'm not a patent attorney, I'm not a trademark attorney. This is not legal advice. This is only advice based off of experience. Do not pick a name and get all your documents set up and make all your flyers and your marketing materials, your website, and do all that only to find out a few weeks or months later that somebody has your exact same name and people have been confusing the two of you. You do not want that to happen. I don't want that to happen to you. Just do your research up front and that'll prevent that from happening. Now, the tool that I want to show you that helps me come up with names and has helped a lot of people that I've referred to come up with names is a really cool tool. It's right online, it's free to use. It's called namelicks.com. Namelicks.com is a AI naming generator. And what that means is all you have to do is type in names. I'm going to show you right here. You type in a few words related to the name of the industry that you're trying to name. You pick a category here. You see you could do brand names, misspelled words, like there's a few different categories. You click generate, and then it generates all of these names that you can use, or at the very least, it helps you brainstorm different ideas, right? So you never have an excuse to be short of ideas with tools like this available on the internet. And as always, make sure you do your research. Like I said, up front, that'll prevent a lot of issues and troubles for you in the long run. I hope this helps. I know naming is one of the most difficult part of the startup process, but hopefully this video makes it a little bit easier. I'm curious what you decided to name your brokerage and how you came up with that name. So if you could comment below, let me know what you came up with and how you came up with it. Is there a special meaning to your name? And I'd also like to hear your ideas. If you have an idea of something that you want to name it, drop it in the comments below and let me give you some feedback on it. All right, I hope that helped. If you'd like a little bit more help with this stuff and brokering in general, I want to personally invite you to join my group. It's called the Freight Broker Network. It's a free group. That's where me and all my freight broker friends hang out. We talk brokering, carriers, customers, sales, regulations, all of that good stuff that goes into running a successful freight brokerage. I'd love to have you in there. Just click the link below to join, invite yourself in, and I look forward to seeing you in there and on future videos. I'll talk to you soon.